For decades, the ancient Nile's history was presented as a narrative of a single powerhouse. Researchers pointed to early Egyptian cultures, like the Naqada, as the primary source of political and cultural innovation in the region. In this framework, the neighboring A-group culture to the south was often characterized as a secondary, less developed prehistoric society that lagged behind the progress seen in the north. This map shows the traditional boundaries, with Egypt to the north and the A-group centered in Lower Nubia. However, excavations in the mid-20th century at a site called Qustul uncovered Cemetery L, which produced evidence of a society far more complex than initial theory suggested. Cemetery L was an elite burial ground where the dead were surrounded by vast wealth. Individual graves held hundreds of high-quality vessels, including locally crafted painted jugs like this one, interred alongside gold and imported lapis lazuli. This concentration of rare materials indicates that Qustul was more than just a temporary camp. To understand the political status of the people buried here, we have to look specifically at the symbols they used to mark their power. The burials at Qustul look significantly different from the simple pits found elsewhere. These elite graves feature massive rectangular shafts and carved lateral niches, a labor-intensive architectural design used specifically for the community's rulers. The tombs also contained multiple human burials and extensive animal sacrifices. Interring dogs, sheep, and valuable cattle with the deceased served as a permanent public display of a ruler's command over living resources. Another mark of status appeared in the form of stone mace heads, discovered at Qustul and nearby Sayala. In earlier A-group sites, mace heads are found in various contexts without any clear link to a specific social class or hierarchy. At Qustul, these objects are restricted to elite grades. Their transition from common tools to exclusive funerary offerings suggests that the A-group had developed a centralized authority that regulated the use of symbolic weaponry. The Qustul and archaic Horus incense burners contain some of the most detailed imagery ever recovered from this period. This rollout drawing shows the full sequence of engravings carved into the stone of the burners. On the right side of the carving, a series of boats moves in a formal procession toward a palace structure, indicated by its distinct slatted facade. The scene also includes divinized animals, specifically a falcon and a large baboon, which were part of an early religious vocabulary shared across the region. Seated at the center of the engraving is a royal figure on a throne. On his head is the unmistakable white crown, a symbol that would later be associated with the rulers of Upper Egypt. Finding this crown in a Nubian cemetery indicates that the visual language of kingship was used by A-group rulers before the full unification of Egypt, showing that these iconic images were not restricted to a single northern culture. Taken together, the architecture, exclusive weapons, and royal crowns define Qustul as the center of a sophisticated proto-state that operated with a level of complexity similar to its neighbors in the north. This power was supported by a strategic economic position. The A-group elites controlled the major trade routes that moved goods from sub-Saharan Africa to the Mediterranean. This exchange was substantial. Gold, ivory, and incense flowed north out of Nubia, traded for Egyptian products like olive oil, beer, and grains. The wealth found in female burials also suggests a social structure where women held significant status, likely pointing toward a matrilineal society. In this system, concepts of fertility and agriculture were central to both the social order and the religious symbols used by the state. The evidence from the A-group proves that royal ideology and the iconic imagery of the pharaohs developed through a long-term, interactive evolution involving both Egyptian and Nubian civilizations.